What's going on, guys? This is ABA Podcast. We got your hosts here. We got Rax, Iceman, and myself, Money. We are anything but average on this podcast, and it has been a anything but average week in the NFL. We're talking NFL free agency here, and holy shit, do we have a lot to cover. Huge things happening. A lot of teams flipping, a lot of powerhouses flipping. There might be a couple new teams that we're talking about, NFC Championship, AFC Championship, or even Super Bowl. We're going to jump into this one pretty fast and just kind of hit it hard and try and maximize our time. We're going to start, I believe, AFC East. I'm going to let Iceman start that one off with his favorite team, the Patriots, who have done quite a bit.
Patriots re-signed basically everybody that was about to walk. The thing I'm most shocked by is Josh Uche staying in town. Really thought we were going to let him go. Love it to see him back. 1 year kind of prove it. I think he's kind of like team needs to prove it for me to stay longer. So we'll see. Beef brisket, Jacoby is back in town. Love to see it. Sounds like they're going to draft. I think this just shows that they're either getting ready to draft a QB or they think that, kind of placeholder, build the roster for another year. Not really sure, but he's an interesting signing.
I mean, Jacoby's pretty interesting in the fact that like he could have the ability to start for most teams, or for a lot of teams, at least half. I think he's right there in that 15 range of quarterbacks.
He can win games when he has a good defense, and that's the one thing we have.
Exactly. So. And so what I think the plan is and you're seeing it unfold in the Patriots organization right now is, hey, let's get a quarterback in here. Maybe it be Jayden Daniels or something like that, someone that needs a year to develop, that can build off of the skills, and they can actually develop a plan towards Jayden's skills. For the future and bridge that gap with Jacoby Brissett and maybe go from there.
I don't want to talk too much draft, but I hope they're not doing that with Daniels just because of his age. I think someone like him needs to go in right away and take advantage of the time you got on the rookie contract. But if we draft May, I feel a lot better now that we've got somebody who's been in the organization, worked with Tom really closely, can kind of share some of what he's learned with somebody like May. I like that.
Dude, we're a couple years.
Let's talk about, unfortunately, a more relevant team.
Well, I do want to say this before we move to Miami really quick.
Relevant.
I do want to say that the biggest move on the Patriots roster was them not re-signing a certain wide receiver. I think you know who I'm talking about, Chase.
Oh, you mean we cut Devontae Parker? Yeah, we forgot to talk about the best part. That useless feet for hands fuck is gone.
Yep.
Goodbye. You can't separate. You can't catch the ball. I hate watching you play football. I can't wait to watch you fail for the Eagles. It's going to be great. Thank you for reminding me.
What's so great is the Eagles and the Pats did a little shit swap there because the Pats got Jalen Reagor. And
Yeah.
Re-signing
Jalen Reagor. We already had that shit bag too.
Speaking of, who was it? Devontae Parker, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, he used to play for the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins are another team in that division making some shake-up moves. I think, they got Shaq Barrett today?
Yeah, it's one of the biggest ones. They also got
Jordan Brooks.
Jordan Brooks, Jordan Poyer.
Oh, Jordan Poyer, too. Yeah.
The two
Johnny Smith. I like Johnny
Smith. That defense has no more excuses. You have so many pieces.
Add another tight end to never target. They needed that. Pay that guy $5 million a year.
A big one too, though, is it's pretty underrated. Is Robert Jones, their guard? They picked up. He's 25 years old. He's pretty young. He's been successful in the NFL. They're also bolstering that offensive line with Aaron Brewer as well. So they've got a couple of pretty good options coming into the line. Maybe Tua doesn't get 20 concussions a year again, and maybe he has
still out 17 games.
Yeah, they are expected to lose one of their big free agents who has not signed anywhere. I believe it's Williams, their offensive lineman. He's expected to leave, so maybe bolstering the line with those two guys might help a little bit. But
Miami's like the Warriors this year, but in the NFL, in the sense that it almost seems like they're trying to operate on two different timelines, because we know that Reek's out in a couple years. He's expressed interest in retiring after this contract.
He's got a big porn career to pursue.
Yeah.
Well, and he chased 2,000 yards this year with what looked like a hamstring or a quad injury, and I can guarantee that hurts his longevity. It looks like they're trying to get younger in certain spots, but then also adding veteran depth to make a run, and they're kind of in this no man's land where it's like, maybe it's not necessarily your time, but you also do need to look at, 3 years in the future. Where's Tua going to be? You ain't going to have Raheem Mostert anymore. Jalen Waddle will be probably aging, maybe exiting his prime,
Probably
maybe
a few
entering
holes in his head from the CTE by that point.
a lot of high balls over the middle in this offense. A lot of high balls over the middle.
Yeah.
But yeah,
the other team that I kind of
it's interesting to see.
Yeah.
the other
That
team
team's going to be dangerous this year.
it'll be interesting too. I mean, is Tua going to come back? Is he going to put up the same numbers? Are they still going to be able to run the ball the way they did? Is Raheem Mostert going to take a step back? This is stuff we'll get into later, but
Even if he does, Devin Achane can come in and fill that role, and that's kind of that two different timelines thing that I'm talking about, where there's youth and veterans, and it's all.
It almost works out really perfectly at the running back position for them.
Yeah.
But I do want to touch on a loss for Miami. Christian Wilkins is a huge loss.
That is huge.
Yeah.
So
great player.
Quite literally and figuratively, huge loss. He's a big dude.
Yeah, huge hole to fill.
And then talking of mass exoduses or huge losses, I guess, the Buffalo Bills pretty much cleaned house on defense and still don't have much cap space after restructuring with Josh Allen. So not worried about them contending anymore.
Well,
I'm going to be honest.
Honestly,
I think 10-6 every year with a first round exit is pretty much what this roster can do.
So the Bills kind of signed a couple of people too, though. It's pretty interesting. They Deion Dawkins, they brought him back on a 3 year, $60.5 million extension. He's young. He's proven he's a good tackle. He's in there. They brought in a new guard as well, or they extended their guard, David Edwards. But the big one is they kind of brought in this dude, Nicholas Morrow, who's a little underrated, but he'll play well on the other side, of our boy. Can't even think of his name right now. That's how good of a boy he is. Vernon Davis. Nope, not Vernon Davis. What is him? Von Miller. There we go. The internet troll. Von Miller himself. Jesus.
He might not even be playing football next year. I don't know about.
He might be in jail, right?
Made some questionable decisions.
I was going to say, and that's dead cat. The Bills are actually fucked, I think.
Well, and here's the interesting thing is, like, I see this universe where it's like, you look at the players they released, and it's kind of like when your friend dumps that really cute girl, and you're like, why? Wait a minute. Why are you cleaning house, homie? And then he's like, oh, she was a monster. Right? It's about chemistry, right? It's about chemistry. Yeah. And I'm not trying to make this huge, an analogy about, relationships in life, but chemistry is huge in a football locker room, same as it is in the bedroom, same as it is in the household, right? If you don't.
So what you're saying is a little bit of Patrick Ewing theory here.
I'm thinking that they might have gotten rid of Charles Oakley so that they could maybe let Pat Ewing have a day alone, like.
Well, addition by subtraction. Exactly. I do like Taylor Rapp. He's going to be a really cheap safety.
And he's a good player. He's high IQ.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what I'm kind of thinking. So it's like, maybe they dude, all these guys are going to want way too much money. They're going to upset this. It's like, I ain't putting a ring on it. I
don't know, man. Taking away Trey White it's big, man.
Would you sign a lease with a crazy girl?
What we're seeing money-wise is exactly what's going to happen with the San Francisco Niners in 2 years. You're seeing they paid the quarterback. Now they're trying to pay these other players and stuff and still keep their Super Bowl window alive. And it's just,
you got to let them walk and draft. That's what you got to do. So they're trying to get on that schedule. It's just it's a really bad time to decide to do that when you've got Josh in his prime. That's where I'm seeing is like,
and that's
okay, so we're going to be on schedule in 3 years. Now Josh is 30. He likes to take hits.
That's like,
they're playing the cap salary game. And he could end up being the next, my favorite quarterback there, Cam Newton, taking all those hits and stuff like that and just fizzling it out, So it just could be that
I think both
type
of those
of
guys
situation, but
so much better when they get hit.
Yeah, I feel like that's part of their game. It's just eventually
some people like to get hit in the mouth.
Break down.
But the thing is, like, if you look at it, this is the other aspect of it. There is the NFL draft, there's free agency, and then there's cap, right? So, like, those are the three ways that you can build a championship caliber team. The only one that really will hinder you, if you're not careful, they'll all hinder you, right? But the biggest one that will hinder you if you're not careful is that cap space, because that makes your Super Bowl window, that 3 year Super Bowl window. That's why the Super Bowl window isn't.
And it also makes your drafts. It makes your drafts very important, and that's why Belichick doesn't have a job, because when you put the team on the draft, now it matters if you miss or if you hit.
Right, you have to hit on the players.
I think minus like the Chiefs, there's really no other football team that goes all in on like that one player. And so it really is about those other things to build a championship team, right? They got rid of Tyreek Hill, had all these, less than stellar receivers and Travis Kelce. And they were able to make a run at it because of defense, because of, certain people taking sacrifices. Chris Jones they ain't taking no fucking pay cut, and I don't blame him. Dude's an animal. Dude's a monster. Pay the man.
Yeah.
They need him.
And so aside from the Chiefs, there's no other team that can literally just say, hey, here's our guy, and everybody else is going to make some shit happen behind him. But every team's trying to do that basic same thing. We're trying to find our number one quarterback, right? And so even in the same division, you look at like the Jets, who are doing absolutely nothing, right? Absolutely.
Yeah, they're probably not going to have a quarterback. He's going to be a vice presidential candidate.
Dude, their window's like 1 to 2 years before he goes on another darkness retreat, tries an experiment.
Have you guys not heard the news today? Did you guys not hear the news? RFK invited Aaron Rodgers to be his vice presidential candidate on the ticket. That's real news. And based on what the Jets did today and yesterday, I think he might take that job.
Honestly, it might be the break for Tyrod
Aaron
Taylor.
Rodgers is globally hated in California and the Midwest, and it's like that's where you win elections.
Well, that's all the time we're going to spend on the Jets today.
Too much. We already spent too much time on the Jets.
Exactly.
I just wanted to get that in.
That's fair. I'm with you on that.
I wanted to let the world know I'm voting for RFK now. If Aaron Rodgers is
dude, you want to
be my VP, baby?
Fucking peyote going on Vision Quest and
Aaron Rodgers, Kamala Harris. Come on, what are we doing here?
Oh. Anyway, AFC North. I'm going to start with the Baltimore Ravens. I think they made the biggest splash. One of the biggest splashes. There's another team in the North I want to talk about too, but Derrick Henry obviously going to the Baltimore Ravens.
That's a weird way to say king.
He's not the king anymore, in my opinion, but that's okay.
This is just to warn everybody, this is a terrible take he's about to spew.
No, I'm not even going to go there.
There's residual Lamar hate. There's so much
it's not Lamar
hate. Please explain why he is no longer King Henry. I'm not
going to waste the time. I'm just going to go ahead and say this. He's past his prime.
Oh.
Did you watch?
If he stays in Tennessee, is he still in his prime?
No, I honestly didn't even want to draft for fantasy last year, but I did because
that team. Oh my goodness, that team was dismal, and the man was still putting the team.
Resident Will Levis fan didn't watch a single game of Tennessee Titans football last year.
Yeah, exactly. That was a big one from the Baltimore Ravens so far. They did lose a pretty significant linebacker.
Patrick
Queen, yeah, he left. So
he went, and he didn't just leave.
Oh no,
he traded the Queen for the King.
He went to a rival, didn't he?
Man, I love that. They did. They got rid of the Queen and they upgraded to a King. Although, if we're talking chess, they're fucked now because Queens are way better. But, yeah.
So Patrick Queen obviously goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, stays in the division, but also a team that kind of hates, the other team there, and they are division rivals. The big one on the Steelers though is Russ Wilson. The last couple.
I don't know how big you want to.
I don't think it's super big, but hear me out for a second, right?
No, hear Russell me Wilson, out. Steelers country, let's ride.
That too, yeah. Throw it down.
Steelers country, let's. What do they do in
whole
Pittsburgh?
Pack of Mike Tomlins.
Let's just stab people in the parking lot.
Foundry country.
Fuck.
Let's steal.
Anyway, Russ Wilson goes there. The last couple of years, that defense has carried them to the playoffs, obviously. They haven't really had a quarterback. Mason Rudolph comes on a kind of okay at the end of the year last year. Looks like, he looks decent. Mike Tomlin has been known for that, in the pocket passer, big, strong quarterback throwing the ball. He now has more of a scrambler, someone who's going to get out of the pocket. So it'll be curious to see how he uses him.
It's going to be a dumpster fire, and I'm so here for it.
Here's the thing, though. Russ can pass, dude. I hate to tell you this. Go look at his stats from last year and tell me in a shit team on a shit fucking...
If you knew you were losing your job at the end of the year and all you had to do was just not mess up, do you think maybe you would work or play a little more conservatively because you know that you're going to be on the free market? Do you think that maybe you'd protect your stats and throw the ball less so you didn't throw more interceptions and only average 220 yards a game? Like, come on here, bro. This guy's washed.
Protecting wasn't even very good at it.
This guy is more washed than a skunk dog, bro. Who did he have to throw the ball to last year?
Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. He had Javonte Williams in the backfield. Their O-line is not bad. What are we talking about here?
Jerry Jeudy coming off a bad ankle injury.
Dude,
he doesn't have hands.
Dude, before that Russell Wilson trade, that Broncos team, everybody was sucking him off like they're a quarterback away from contention.
And I don't see
Now
any
all of a sudden
development from
he
the
had
receivers
nobody.
at all. I see
That happened
no
one time
development
with
from the
Peyton,
receivers. But this podcast isn't going into how bad the fucking Broncos are, how bad their coaching is. Sean Payton's a fucking washout, in my opinion.
Can you watch your language, sir?
No. I'm sorry, it's Sean Payton, defensive-minded Sean Payton. He's going to bring the best out of Russ Wilson and the offense that didn't develop at all last
I thought
year.
Sean was an offensive guy.
No.
We all know Drew Brees coached that team.
Drew Brees ran that offense, yeah.
Okay?
By the way,
Anyway,
we know
we
that
all
now.
acknowledge
It's
they look
just-
related, Drew Brees and Sean Payton.
Anyway,
just
talking
know that.
offenses here, Cincinnati
Nobody acknowledges
Bengals. They're expected to lose T. Higgins in some type of trade, or maybe he's going to sit out. He is franchise tagged. They're going to carry him across there, though. They do sign two
He'll
tight
play
ends.
if they don't trade him.
Yeah,
Luckily, they got Drew Sample and Mike Gesicki to pick up those targets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say the other good thing is I have my son, my child,
Jamar,
the GOAT. So
Jimmy
Yeah.
James.
they
Jimmy
bring in Zach
Jam.
Moss, who had a pretty decent year last year.
dude, thank you for bringing up Zach Moss. I wanted to say that was the best thing they could have done is get rid of Mixon, cut that fucking bloated contract, and sign a guy like Zach Moss.
Yeah.
Zach Moss on $4 million guaranteed is crazy cheap.
Well, what's crazy is they
yes.
said they were going to cut Mixon, right? And then about an hour after the Mixon thing broke, all of a
I saw
sudden he's traded, right? So then they're not on the hook for any of his contract at all, or even
Which
any
is
dead money,
crazy.
which is awesome.
Best
And
part, did you guys see Freezing Cold Takes retweeted Mixon saying he ain't going nowhere?
yeah,
Like
exactly.
15 minutes before the trade went through.
Like, see you later. On the defensive ball, they did sign Geno Stone, the safety.
Mhm.
I don't know too much about him. I haven't really looked into him too much. He's younger.
He's a solid guy.
I want to say where did
Honestly,
he
a
come from?
little rich for my liking on the
You can
contract.
say he's rock solid with
He
a
was-
name like Stone.
I want to say he was on the Ravens. He had maybe 1 or 2 picks and a sack or something like that last year. Nothing too big, but he did get paid. I guess 2 years, $15 million. Not really. Never mind.
$7.5 million for a safety these days is not bad.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like
Yes.
that $7 million for those, I don't even know what you call these positions, but like those second tier positions, some of your tackles, your centers, your safeties, like that's good
Guards,
money.
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
that's
just
fair.
only so much to go around when the average quarterback on a team's making $30 million a year and you have
Facts.
52
$40
other
million.
people.
Dude, fucking the Dak Prescotts of the world making 40 somehow. It's crazy.
Yeah, but he's not an average quarterback. He's below average in talent, above average in salary, and has to deal with a guy
And
with
his
Alzheimer's
agent
all the
is
time.
fucking killer, dude.
Bro, I heard he was trying to get sued for like $100 million, and now he's countersuing her for anyway.
Dak?
Dak's being,
Whoa, I didn't know about this.
allegations. There's allegations.
Whoa.
He's suing her for extortion. She's suing him for sexual assault
Jesus.
Wow, weird.
for $100 million. So it's like I believe the extortion. Like that's an exorbitant amount. I'm not saying
Yes.
that if he did it, that there's any amount that would make it right. That's not what we're saying. But what I'm
Yeah.
saying is that the amount makes you think that she's
Something
trying to
happened
settle.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just a little bit fishy. You don't. I want $100 million.
Yeah. 100 million serious moolah.
That's true.
I think
Well,
most
hey,
people
so
just, anyway, we'll get
To
off.
bring-
I
back-
was going to say, speaking of assault, we've already talked about him. And the team that he got signed to assaulted the free agency market today. Joe Mixon goes to the Houston Texans.
interesting swap of picks there.
Yeah.
It's
I just don't know, man.
the-
They had
the-
so much trouble running the ball last year. I feel bad for him.
Yeah, well,
They did.
I think based on all the other moves they made, I feel like it's very clear they're going to be targeting offensive line in the draft. So,
yeah, I mean
The
you're
Texans
looking
did
at-
get Danielle Hunter.
they
dude,
did.
Danielle Hunter and Danico Autry, both of them, fucking killer signings.
With
So-
Rookie of the Year, Will Anderson. Like, fudge.
So they kind of did something a little bit different in free agency. I think they're going to target a lot of offensive linemen and that kind of stuff in the draft. But in the free agency, they went defense. You already covered Hunter. They got Al Shair.
Mhm.
They brought in Mike Ford, the cornerback. Jeff Okuda, he's there.
If he can develop, that dude's got the fucking prolific build. He just doesn't have the awareness.
Exactly, and you guys already talked about Autry coming in. They re-signed Schultz. I mean, they didn't do too much. The big one, the huge one I like here is our boy Fairbairn is coming back on a 3-year, $15 million.
Like the kicker.
Yeah, dude.
Kaimi.
Kaimi,
He's
dude.
got the sickest name.
That's why I
True.
brought it up. Only because of his name. I don't give a shit about a kicker unless it's fantasy.
Yeah, I think Houston killed it again. I think this front office, Nick Caserio, stays winning. Biggest
Yeah.
mistake Patriots ever made was letting that guy go. And
just feel
he's
like
just going to keep torturing me.
Yep.
Well, I feel like if Houston didn't make the Mixon move, like I'd be like, yes, A. But they made that move, so I got to give them like a B. Like that's just a negative move. They take on so much money at the running
I think
back
for
position.
them, it's a positive move. And I'll tell you why. And not that I know they take on his contract. They have a lot of room. I think it's positive because, like you mentioned, they do have a hard time pushing the ball. Mixon's a bowling ball. You can just throw him up the middle and get 3-4
and
yards.
he's a 3-down back. He can catch the ball too, and he's pretty effective. We've seen him have some insane games. It's not a lack of talent. It's just like when you look at his talent compared to the talent of other comparable running backs,
And
the
he's
amount
not
of
worth the money.
they're getting.
Yeah.
I just feel like Houston probably could have done better for less.
I'm with you.
Less.
Houston would have been smarter to sign like Aaron Jones or something like that.
With that being
Yeah,
said,
that'd be
I'll
cool.
probably still end up with Joe Mixon on 3 out of my 5 fantasy football teams, and I'm going to ride him till the motherfucking wheels fall off. So
The cool news about that, though,
Yeah,
is we get him like the
Colts-
4th round.
Colts
So,
did a lot of re-signing, nothing relevant.
Yeah.
They
Jacksonville
did get
kind of
their
showed their
punter
hand
back.
they don't want Ridley because they signed Gabe Davis to a 3-year, $39 million.
Jacksonville
well, it's
kind of
weird
showed
because
a
Ridley
lot.
wants to stay, dude. Ridley wants to stay, but the
But
Patriots are
now they
pursuing
only have
Ridley.
$5 million in cap space. I'm not sure how that math is going to add up.
Because he's like he's already signed to them or whatever.
They can go
however that
over.
works. They can go over for it, and then
And play
they can
around
always
with the,
restructure other
guaranteed
deals.
stuff, yeah.
So Jacksonville
but
did a
from
lot
what
of
I
interest.
hear,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
From what I hear, the Patriots are pursuing Ridley really hard. They really want him.
Yeah,
it's going to be
So
tough. That's
I
just
got
a
listened to a little 96.5 the Sports Hub today.
Mhm.
Sounds like Ridley's agent is one of those. He's like the MLB's Scott Boras, where he's maximized the contract guy. So I think the Pats are going to have to majorly overpay to overcome the Massachusetts tax, and I think that's going to be the biggest issue. So
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I actually don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately, because of his agent and just the style of agent he is. He's not going to settle for anything more than maximum.
So Jacksonville was my most interesting team, actually. Kind of watching what they did, trading for Mac Jones. That was a huge one, right? They get him for a 6th round pick, which is awesome. Good value there. They bring in another weapon for our boy. They bring in 3 offensive linemen. They bring in.
Are we going to
offensive lineman.
pause? I think we need to pause.
What?
I'm just going to say that if you were to take Mac Jones, Daniel Jones, and Trevor Lawrence and put them in a line, besides one looking like a horse and the other 2 looking extremely Caucasian, there's no statistical difference. They're all ass.
I think I'd
You guys-
argue that all 3 of them look extremely Caucasian.
You guys aren't even gonna let me finish what I was saying.
Trevor
here.
Lawrence is a fucking horse. He's
Yeah, I
Taylor
get that.
Swift Jr.
I get that.
He's Sarah Jessica Parker.
Don't rope me into our boy on this nonsense, okay? I don't believe in any of them clowns, okay?
Okay, so here's the thing, though. This
This is
all of the
crazy.
stop. All of the moves, except for the defensive moves that Jacksonville has done. I'll get there in a second. All of these moves bring in an offensive line, another weapon for fucking Trevor Lawrence. It is his make or break it year. If he is halfway through the season and is just
Mac Jones, baby.
if he's halfway through the season and complete garbage, I see Mac Jones.
Jones is not the answer.
It's not the answer. It's a bridge, right? So they finish out the year and then they draft a quarterback afterwards. But this is the make it or break it for that position. Trevor Lawrence is going to get one more go at it this year. If he can't develop into somebody that, or show development into somebody that's going to be either above average or elite, it is time for them to move on. And they're
They should
showing
trade
that
him this year while his value's still high.
his value is not high.
It's higher than it will be next year.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. Because next year he's going to be...
Dude, I got him.
He's
ranked
going to
like
be a known
20
quantity. Right now, you can still sell him as a 1st or 2nd round pick for
I
a
have
trade.
21 quarterbacks that start in the NFL above him.
I'm saying his trade value right now will be higher than it, or is higher than it will be in 12 months.
I think-
Therefore, they should move him now.
I think
If you actually think he's going to fail this year,
they've invested so
reason to
much
keep
in him,
him.
dude, that they're going to keep him for 1 year. I guarantee it.
no,
So
I
here's
agree.
my-
I'm just saying they
here's my
should trade
thing
him.
with the Jaguars, right? They start the season 8-3. They finish the season 9-8. And people will tell you that's because Trevor Lawrence got injured, but that's not the case. You could look at the defensive metrics. You could look at how the team entirely was playing. The reason they made it to 8-3 was strength of schedule and Travis Etienne.
Yep.
With that being said, I do agree that this could be a make or break year. I'm not fully on the idea of any of these guys not being able to play to a certain potential. They're incredible athletes that have been playing this game for 20 years of their life. Clearly, they're here for a reason. Now, if the situation works, and if they're able to overcome the fact that defenses get better every year, right? Schemes get better every year, I could see this working, and I see those things as positive moves, but I'm just not sold that this team is in an impressive position, nor should they be heralded, because they're really not in a spot to win. They're 9-8 last year. Who'd they lose to the last game of the year? It was something embarrassing. The Titans.
That's probably the Jets.
And they're up against the cap space now. We are out of room here to be adding pieces. So
that's kind of what I'm saying. Dude, they're giving it one more year. They're giving it one more year for him to prove himself, and they're going to start.
There's a lot of teams that we're going through that are
that's so
championship
crazy,
game or bust.
Is there a better quarterback coming out than any of these four quarterbacks that we talk about every day right now? I don't think so, right? Is next year the year if it doesn't work this year? Or are you going to draft somebody and develop them? You can't
Everybody's going to start tanking for Archie.
His blanket.
Hope springs eternal, but this is a business, and there's no credit for hope.
Yeah. Do we want to? We'll transfer over to Tennessee Titans here once Parker's back.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
You're fine. I like the Tony Pollard signing. I feel like they have a good offensive line. He can kind of go in, and if not, they have Tajay Spears still too. So there'll be a nice dual-headed back there. Keep Tony's reps down. Keep him healthy and explosive.
I like Chidobe Awuzie signing. He's a really solid corner.
He's the tight end, or
I meant corner.
No, that's the cornerback. I'm thinking of Chinagay.
Yeah, Chidobe Awuzie.
Yeah. Sorry, I was. Who's the tight end they have that has a Ch name?
Oh, were you thinking of Chiga Kwanko?
Yeah. Thank you.
Dude, we got the they got the Chig combo.
Yeah. Probably the coolest name duo there.
Yeah, dude. Ever. I just realized I loved. By the way, shout out to Chig. I love you. Come on the pod.
True.
You're my favorite tight end to watch in college.
I mean, so the Tennessee Titans are interesting to me because it sounds like they're going to go ahead and give Mr. Mayo Coffee a shot at starting and let him kind of lead this team.
He's got a cannon.
He does.
Drop a shoulder, Will Levis.
Yeah, I think Will's in the starting bid. They bring in Tony Pollard. I don't think that's a replacement for Derrick Henry, granted, he had a pretty good season. He was running the ball fairly well. I think their run styles are a little different, so it'll be interesting to see how they adjust to that.
Definitely more of a one-cut guy. We'll see how he fares.
Exactly.
I don't know what that offense is going to be so fucking weird this year. I'm not going to enjoy watching it.
They brought in a center, too. They're trying to bolster that offensive line. The interior offensive line was definitely an issue for him last year.
I was going to say, Cushenberry was kind of the top center
on
the market.
Yeah, he's pretty young, 26 years old. He's been in the league 4 years now. He's
LSU.
He came out of LSU, I believe.
As California natives all here, can we just show some love for that name? I mean, Cushenberry. I would eat
Cushenberry, come on the pod. You're a favorite
I would light
center.
it on fire and smell
This is a Lloyd Cushenberry podcast.
Yeah, dude, we're all about Cushenberry, dude.
We're getting Cushenberry jerseys this year.
I will have
Cushenberry cereals now available in THC free, CBD available.
And I actually don't mean that because obviously I don't do that, but it'd be cool.
Well, let's we gotta keep this moving.
Yeah,
we're gonna skip over the Broncos because all they did was trade away Jerry Jeudy and do nothing.
I did want to say they re-signed their kicker, Will Lutz.
Yeah, Will Lutz get the deals. Kickers.
Really needed to remind everybody.
Dude. Somebody has to score up there. Okay, somebody has to.
Kickers,
dude,
they're getting
tips out to the fantasy weirdos that like kickers. Get Will Lutz because he's going to be the only motherfucker in Denver scoring points this year.
You're still running a kicker in your league. You're living in 1994.
And please stop because it is stupid.
Speaking of special team players, Matt Ariza is back in the league.
I was going to say that was actually a sneaky signing. He was a really good kicker before all that mumbo jumbo. I like the move for the Kansas City.
They get him on a league minimum too. He's going to come back, prove himself.
And I think this is Travis Kelce's last season, boys. You see who they signed?
They bring in Irv Smith. I see that.
I like Irv Smith.
Do you really think they're going to move on?
I think that this could be Travis Kelce's last season. I'm not saying that Irv Smith's going to unseat him. I think Travis Kelce could be like, let me pass along a little wisdom. and
If
then
I'm T.
retire.
He gets that wisdom in the
If I'm
tight end
Travis-
you every year, dude. TU.
He can
But
run that when
anyways-
he's not even in. Dude, he's going to be making more off his podcast than he will in the NFL in like 5-10 years.
And he
so it
wants to
doesn't
be an
matter.
actor. I'm telling you, I think this might be it. Chase Stradamus.
Honestly, about the Chiefs, I think the
Maybe.
biggest thing is L'Jarius Sneed only gets the non-exclusive franchise tag.
Yeah.
You know, so that's pretty crazy there. He can leave.
I thought it was pretty interesting they decided to pay Drew Tranquil instead of keeping Willie Gay, especially, I think we'll get to him later, but Willie Gay got a cheaper contract, and I always thought Willie was the better player,
I think-
so...
Well,
Yeah, pretty
and
interesting
Maybe
there.
that's the case. I think just for their scenario, Tranquil plays more positions for them. He's more versatile.
And he stays
And so-
healthy.
Yeah. And so
Other than that, I mean, the
I-
Chiefs just
there was a reason.
Yeah.
yeah. Other than that, the Chiefs just playing it safe. Obviously, given the massive contract to Chris Jones.
Yep.
The team that beat the Chiefs this year under an interim head coach, the Las Vegas Raiders, are on the move as well. Minshew Mania coming to town.
That's not even their best signing.
My man's got a job! I don't care. I love him. He's
It's
a
not.
coup, bro.
But I do think he has the potential to be a starter there. I like.
He's the starter. He is the starter.
I do like. I like the idea of Minshew to Devontae all day.
Can I just say one thing?
What's
Yeah.
that?
You can't speak.
Free Devontae.
True. Why would you
Send
want to
him
free
to a real
Devontae,
team.
dude? Gardner Minshew's in town. He's gonna fucking get him in the free flat, dude. Just
Do you think
I know
if the
you
Raiders are terrible that Devontae gets traded to the Jets?
I hope not. I really
I
hope
see
not.
that on the wall already with Aaron
Dude,
crying about
I honestly, I'm
the offense.
I'm one of those guys that wants
damn.
to see Devontae be on a decent team because I want to see what he can do in the postseason.
Well, I was
Either team he's not going to get.
Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams together. I'm not gonna lie, would be kind of sick.
I get that. But even
That
the
would-
Jets, if the Jets don't pick up an offensive line, they're going to have the same record next year, even with
Yeah.
fucking Aaron Rodgers, because he's fucking 40 years old and he's going to break his leg again. Like, it's just it's the same shit over and over again. Like how even the most basic football fan could see that nobody was protecting that quarterback.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to the
You
Las
better
Vegas
be
Raiders.
careful how you talk about your vice president.
Oh yeah, come on the pod, vice president. I won't pay you $1 million.
We'll just
Missouri.
skip over the Chargers because it's basically irrelevant moves.
Yeah.
Gus Edwards, I love him, but nothing crazy. We'll
I
not
just-
talk about the Cowboys because they are trash.
They didn't do anything. Wait, there's nothing to talk about.
What are you
They don't.
talking about? They signed Trent Sieg.
They're long snappers. Good job.
Trent Sieg. They locked that motherfucker down.
Eesh.
Long snapper. Dude, that was a Belichickian move right there, locking down the long snapper.
Disgusting. I do want to stop at the New York Giants. Looking at everything, they got Devin Singletary. He did okay last year. But
I feel
what's
he's
really
a good
impressive,
player, man.
yeah, it's decent. What's really impressive though is they go ahead and sign Brian Burns or trade for Brian Burns.
That was massive.
Yep, and then
Then they extended him.
they did. Yep. And they're also doing some help on their offensive line. They picked up a guard, and they picked up an offensive tackle.
I think as Isaiah McKenzie goes off this year, that's Dable's
No,
boy
I
from back
agree.
in Buffalo. And he gave him 4 years. So
Well, and
Yeah.
the other thing too, like that team is just filled with a hodgepodge of actually good young receivers, from Slayton to Hodgins. Like they're not in a bad spot.
They
they
tight
have
end,
a
Darren
lot of
Waller.
twos and not a one.
They have Danny
No, and I
Two Legs
agree,
and
but you
Drew
can
Lock
exist
throwing
like
the fucking
that, right?
football though.
No, and
When you
that's
say
the
Pat?
other thing too. Oh, I was just
Oh, we
saying.
lost him.
Oh, he's still.
Oh,
Oh, no,
it's
he's
my-
gone. It's just freeze frame. You good there, pal? There he is. He's back.
back.
Yeah. What's up, dude?
He's
I
back.
Namaste. Namaste.
can't wait.
I was like,
I'm
I
on
could
the
keep
pod.
moving, but namaste. Fuck, what was I finna say? Oh yeah,
You're talking
no,
about the
I think
hodgepodge
it's
good receivers.
Yeah. Well, and that's what's really important. It's who's throwing it to them. So even though they're talented, and like obviously hyper athletic, et cetera, I think what's really important to note in these scenarios is like who is throwing them the ball actually.
Drew Lock,
Sorry.
dude. The
My
answer.
phone's
Dude, I
going
just went up.
crazy right now.
His
Yeah,
motherfucking
it's a-
game, dude. My favorite meme. I love Drew Lock.
I just went off and told you got fucking Danny Two Legs and Drew Lock throwing the football, bro.
Dude,
They
I
need
can't
to-
wait to see Drew Lock talking shit to the camera on a Week 16 irrelevant game. It's gonna be wonderful.
I think the biggest
Oh.
thing about the New York Giants that we need to talk about is the loss of Saquon Barkley, and that's going to lead us into the Philadelphia Eagles. Uh, you let your star player walk. You don't even want to pay him. You disrespect him last year, with all the contract talks and everything like that, and he walks. And he goes over to one of the contenders in the NFC, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles. They've now got a scarier offense. You have, two people that can run the ball pretty well in Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley now, and then look at the receiving core there. You got I can't even think of names right now. Devontae Smith and AJ Brown and all those guys.
Bro, these
know
NFL
how long
GMs
AJ
playing
Brown's gonna be
Madden
around.
franchise mode, getting Henry and Lamar and Hurts and Barkley together, fucking sick.
Yeah.
No, I mean, dude, honestly, they have a
Um,
crazy, they have a good team, and they just didn't put things together. This last year, some things fell apart. The DC and OC were changed. Sirianni kind of fell short in decision making. And hopefully it wasn't too
Yep.
far gone for AJ Brown, because he is a really talented wide receiver, but it doesn't seem like he's super happy or content or willing to even stay there, super long term. So
I was gonna say we could see him on the move later
just
in
maybe the trade
the
deadline.
offseason.
Kinda like what I was
think.
talking
I
about
think the
earlier,
trade's on the table.
it's kind of like what I was talking about earlier. Bro. People talk, word of mouth.
a couple of
Yeah, and
of
if we're
notable-
hearing it, it's real.
that's
to
true.
some level.
Yeah, it's somehow if it's getting to us, it's either
If
we're on the
NFL
dark web.
Insider ABA podcast if NFL Insiders at ABA podcast are hearing about it, there's some validity because
Very true.
Aside from
Um,
Sham Sharina, Woj, yeah, I can't really think.
Rappaport.
There might be a
I was
couple.
gonna say you're forgetting the most important one.
Rappaport, dude.
No,
Who?
No, Shefty.
Shefty? Nobody
the
cares.
goat.
Nobody cares
The
about
goat.
Come
Shefty.
on now.
I'm just kidding. Shefty, come visit us, man. I'll talk crap with you all day.
This
What
What was
guy.
that soundbite from that 90s or 80s draft? Mel Kiper, some unknown, with this mock draft. It's like, bro, maybe in 20 years they're talking ADA podcast. They have terrible takes, and it's like, no, actually, we're
Yeah,
getting a lot
exactly.
of decent
Yeah,
information.
this
from
is
these guys.
our this is the start of our Mel Kiper arc.
That's true. To finish off the Philadelphia Eagles, though, I wanted to talk about a couple of sneaky moves here. Bryce Huff, the edge guy, they got him on a 3-year deal. And then our boy, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson Jr.
Yeah, it was a good signing.
It was a really good
Should
one.
have
They got
never
him-
let him go. That
They got
was
him-
stupid.
They got him for $11 million a year. Not bad.
They could have got him for cheaper last year,
They could have.
which is crazy. They could have locked him down for 4 years with less money.
Do you want to note
that's how
that
it goes,
Philadelphia is losing Fletcher Cox to retirement?
Yep.
That's going to be a huge one there. We
Shouts
talked.
to one of the goats.
Yeah,
Who's
he's
the other
gonna
guy
be
that
great.
retired
And
for
they-
them? Pretty good player.
Oh yeah, their offensive center there. Their offensive lineman,
Your favorite player?
Jason Kelsey.
Jason Kelsey, aka Shotgun.
It's
And
actually pronounced Kels.
oh, I thought it was Kelsey.
That was on their podcast. Apparently, people called them Kelsey, and their dad stopped correcting them.
Crazy. Well, on another note, FIFA champion Julie Ertz' husband Zach Ertz has signed with
Yeah.
the Washington Commanders.
Two-time Olympic world two-time FIFA world champion and American hero, Julie Ertz's husband.
Yep, Zach
The
Ertz, the
Commanders
I
went
just
Washington
unplugged
Commanders.
my,
Crazy,
my
bro.
headset by accident.
So two things.
Commanders spent some money.
On this subject, one, shout out the Washington football team and Commanders. That's my boy JK, aka California Chief, in Volume 1 and Volume 2 coming. He's a rapper out of Los Banos, out of the 209. He loves the Commanders.
Sure.
I'm starting to love the Commanders, not because of him, but because they're making moves like this. Eckler. They got a quarterback. They're out here getting Zach Ertz for veteran leadership. The list goes on. Clellan Farrell,
Yeah.
bro. Brandon
How's
McManus
it
is a
sneaky?
kicker.
The sneaky one though is Allegretti, Nick Allegretti, the guard. They got him for a 3-year, $16 million deal, and then bringing in their center there. I tried to pronounce this guy's last name 4 different times.
Oh,
Biadaz.
Yeah, coming up with
Biadasz?
the Cowboys. Coming up with the Cowboys, he was a lockdown guy. He's 26 years old. He's young.
Yeah.
He's been in the league a few years. He's I can't pronounce his last name, so I'm not going to try and butcher it. Tyler, if you hear me, you're a center. You're now playing for the Washington Commanders. Come talk to me. jump on the pod. We'll chat with you.
Yeah, hop on the
You
pod.
can tell me how
dude.
to pronounce your name so I don't insult you.
Dude, they also got Frankie Louvu.
Yep.
Washington State. I actually met him once. Nice guy.
They bring
Happy
in
to see
Luvu.
him get 36.
They bring in Brandon McManus, the kicker.
Dude,
and our
I don't
favorite,
know how are they getting Jeremy Chin at $5 million or
They got him
$4
cheap.
million a year?
they got him cheap.
How is Jeremy Chin one of the most underpaid safeties? He's
young, experienced. He's fucking
I don't get it.
balling.
I don't
I
get
just
it.
feel like the
He was with the
market, like
Panthers
people
last
talk
year,
about running backs not being valued, bro. They do not value safeties.
It's crazy.
No, I mean, dude, go look at any like major college football program. That's not where the safeties are coming from, bro. It's a huge oversight. When you watch like college football, you cannot find a safety on the field. It is just deep shot, deep shot, deep shot, right? And so when you do get a good safety, I mean, say you were pretty good at your job and we're offering you $4 million a year. Yeah, that's awesome. But relatively speaking, for the importance of the position compared to others, they should be getting more money. Because a safety, like realistically, they can be a linebacker, a cornerback. I mean, just
NFL safety, the elite safeties are linchpins in the great defenses. Earl Thomas,
no,
Cam
absolutely.
Chancellor,
Yeah.
Devin
The Legion
McCourty, dude,
of
Bob
Boom,
Sanders, dude, dude, Brian Dawkins, fucking Sean Taylor, dude.
Sean
We could just go
Taylor.
down the. I love both of those two, Dawkins and Taylor. Imagine if we could have had a duo of those two.
Yeah, it'd be crazy. To move
I
on,
don't
we're
think
gonna
there's
I'm
any
gonna jump
receiver
over.
alive. Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
jumping
sorry.
over to I'm jumping over to NFC North now. I don't really want to stop
Ooh.
on the Bears. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. DeAndre Swift's their big signing. It's just
Yeah.
kind of I'm not kind of sure where they're going.
They're
We'll talk
keeping
about them
Jalen
after the
Johnson, and
draft.
that's what mattered,
Well,
honestly, for them.
yeah. No, and
Yeah.
I think that like after the draft, we'll see how they end up, and we can talk about them at that point. But right now, it doesn't make a ton of sense. That place is a running back factory, bro. They've had so much talent just walk through Chicago in the last 4 years, man, and they just misuse it.
Yep.
So I feel bad for Swift.
And are we one of the only people that like Roschon Johnson? I don't understand why Roschon Johnson is not getting more love. Why is he not? Why aren't you just letting a rookie fucking run on no money? Why are we spending $8 million on 150 touch a year DeAndre Swift? I don't get it.
Time out. What about the other guy that's been there? Khalil Herbert, dude. He's been a monster. The human
And
joystick.
both of them are cheap.
Who was the other guy?
Both of them combined are
Thank you.
half of what we're paying DeAndre Swift.
That's what I'm saying, dude. It's just like a
I don't
name
get
that was
it.
in free agency and they had to spend some money. I think the idea is like, oh, rookie quarterback, hand the ball to this guy. The other guys are just fine, bro. Go spend some money on an O lineman. Get a
I was
job.
gonna say the only thing they did for their O line, which is what they needed, was they got Ryan Bates. He's okay. He came from the Bills. They gave up a 5th round pick for it. I'm not. Ryan Bates is somewhere in the middle to me. He's not out of this league. He's not someone.
No, but they have who they get last year. It was Paris Johnson. Who's the guy they got last year in the draft? He's really good.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name right now. I think he came out of Oklahoma or something like that.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. I
But
can't
they've got a really good one. They have an opportunity to add another top tier. They could add Joe Alt at what are they picking at? They're picking at
first and
8.
First and 7, first and 8.
So conceivably, they could trade up a little bit and draft a Joe Alt, or they could draft a Olu Fashanu and have basically your tackles locked down with two franchise tackles. I think Ryan Bates is a good option because that gives them the option to draft best available.
Chicago's
now they
one-
don't,
drafting
now they
1
don't
and
have
9.
to play it.
1 and 9.
Now
1 and
you
9.
don't have to play it. Oh, we need a tackle. Now you can be like,
Mhm.
okay, Malik Neighbors just dropped in the draft. Let's take Neighbors because he's there. We don't need
Yeah.
to take a tackle.
It's so much
Yeah,
for not
I'm
stopping on
kinda
the
guess-
Bears.
Sorry.
That's all I got. on Bears,
Oh, and I
yeah.
also like Jonathan Owens and Kevin
Yeah,
Byard.
Bears.
Okay, I'm done.
Yeah,
Kevin
Bears.
Byard's a great player. Byard's a great player.
Mike
Yeah.
Ditka's the only
I
Bear.
think that's a
And
good
so
backup
is Simone
already.
Biles' husband, Jonathan Owens. Simone Biles' husband.
Yeah, Mike Ditka.
Oh, I do know who
Shouts
that
out
is.
Jonathan Owens.
It's the safety that just signed the 1-2 year deal or something. Speaking of running back factories, you were talking about running back factories. I do like the Detroit Lions. They're kind of addressing defense, and it looks like they did
An
lock
address
down.
corner.
They-
not an address I would say is good.
I mean, I don't see them being great, but Emmanuel Mosley's a underrating signing at corner. I think he played well with the Niners and then played well last year a little bit too. I don't know too much about Amick Robertson. But what I do like what Detroit did is they locked down their offensive lineman guy, Glasgow. You know, they're gonna keep him around.
Team friendly too. Whew,
Very,
super cheap.
very cheap. They got him on a team
I feel
friendly
like they
deal.
bolstered their defense to an acceptable level. They picked up some guys that can fill holes that they needed because, I mean, you watch that Niners game and it's like they just really needed a stop, man. Like you watch a few other games that they lost, they just really needed a stop. Scoring was not their issue. They were top of the league in offense. So not number one, but they were top of the league in offense and no problem scoring.
I see they need to be targeting one of the top corners in this draft, though. They need like a Kool-Aid or Terrion Arnold.
If they can get it, but even then, bro, like they picked up Carlton Davis. I think he's decent.
They lose CJ Gardner-Johnson. They lose CJ.
Yep.
I mean, you got Brian Branch back there still, but who is taking CJ's role?
No,
I don't see a corner that's locked down. This team had problems and they got worse there already.
Well,
they already have problems in the sense.
I don't see him going to the draft and being like, okay, this cornerback's going to solve our issues, right? It's more going to be by committee and situation, I think, and scheme. I'm not saying that there's not that elite talent, but I don't know if they go there to draft it.
Yeah, I just think, dude, their secondary is so killer. They need somebody to lock it down on one side, something.
I will say it's kind of a sneaky move. It's the trade they did for Carlton Davis.
That's what I was just talking about.
Yeah, I don't think he's like top tier, but like he played pretty well last year. And honestly, his stats for the last couple of years have been pretty good. You know, he's not a huge interception machine, but he is putting in work as a corner. And you know, he's not going to be that lockdown guy. You are right. They're going to have to address it in free agency. I don't think they need to go first round. Maybe get a second round guy. I don't know. That's going to be an interesting one to see around the draft. That's another team that kind of confused me with what they were doing. So
I also come from the world of Terrion Arnold and Quinion Mitchell are generational guys. I think both of them could be lockdown corners. So
yeah, I like the confidence. Well, I see the potential too. So
I do as well. But
it's just so hard, man. It's so hard to take that leap.
Sorry, Rax was talking powerful offenses. I think the offense that got the most powerful through free agency is probably the Green Bay Packers, putting Josh Jacobs. Kind of, right? So here's my theory on this. You know, you got Josh Jacobs coming in, you know, one of the top rushers, obviously, the last couple of years. He's durable. He is durable. You saw Jordan Love come on at the end of last year. Honestly, throughout the second half of the year, really, not even the end. He played well in the playoffs. Those young receivers started to develop more and more, I think. Yeah, I think if the receivers kind of just take that next step,
even then, dude, like their young receivers tore it up, dude. Dobbs was good. Yeah. Jaden Reed was good. Tucker Kraft.
Jaden Reed is awesome.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so I'm not worried about that team. They're scary.
No, I'm just was running back the problem with this team. I didn't think so.
No, not really. But in part of the season, they're building consistency and game plan. I think it kind of was because first play of the year where Aaron Jones catches that 33-yard, it was a pass to the end zone. He injured his hamstring. And so they're A.J. Dillon and then that other cat who I can't remember, right? I think that the idea is to keep consistency so that they can build for the postseason, having a game plan where
I understand what Josh Jacobs brings to the table. It's just like...
No, and I don't claim that.
I guess their problem was Aaron Jones gets hurt, and it's like, okay... So
and
what happens
I don't
when
even
Josh
know
Jacobs gets hurt?
I don't think Aaron Jones is operating at 100%.
No, he wasn't, and that is part of best abilities availability. And Aaron Jones still ain't cheap, but I don't know. I don't think that they got that much better.
Well, the other thing I think is they got Xavier McKinney at safety, and they already had a strong secondary.
Huge.
They already have
overspend. It's a good player, but.
He's young, though. That's why they did it.
They had the money, dude. Like, none of their contracts really dictate in a different direction. What's the deal?
What's the year?
Oh, wow, 4 years.
That's when I'm 4 for 74. That's a lot.
We're
almost paying him $20 million.
You guys realize there's quarterbacks coming out of the draft that are older than him? Like he's 20.
What?
There's quarterbacks coming out of the draft that are older than him. He's 24 years old.
Quarterbacks play 5 years and 1 year at JC, and they were already 19 when they graduated.
But my point is like you could have Xavier McKinney and pay him $18.5 million, or you could have Jeremy Chin and pay him $5 million. I don't even think honestly, I don't understand it. I just don't get that.
I don't understand the gap. I do understand the player difference. I think I would take Xavier McKinney over over Chin.
I don't see the player difference that much. I think that
For
we're
that
talking
amount of
about
money, I
guys in the
wouldn't.
same tier.
For that amount of money, I wouldn't. But like, I think that McKinney's better. I think he's gonna. I
It's
think
just
he's
so
got a higher
much money.
ceiling. I think they overpaid on him, right?
Yeah.
I honestly believe that they overpaid on their return man, Nixon, that they just re-signed, giving him 3 years, 18 mil. For a return man.
Yeah, but he plays corner too.
Okay, how often do you see a return man playing corner?
It used to be all the time.
Just
We're
because
just
the
in a
Niners
weird
put all their
era of
wide receivers in
analytics.
at return and they play as wide receiver still doesn't mean it,
I
but-
want Frank Gore on return, bro. Just get.
I'm honestly just kind of confused by the Packers.
You can have
don't
Frank-
see
I
them
don't know.
spending a lot of money like
Well,
this
so-
in free agency. It's just odd.
Right.
No, and I agree. I just feel like maybe they had the money to spend in certain capacities. They needed to fill the roster, went for best available players. Maybe this is somebody that the ownership targeted and thought could help, their team get to this level. And you never really know those behind the scenes conversations. Maybe they have a draft strategy that complements this even better. And they're coming off a playoff.
And they're front. I'm sorry, I'm reading the
Nobody-
contracts. They're front loading both Jacobs and McKinney.
McKinney's 25 mil up front.
Yeah,
it's
so
just
like
the
in 2
first year.
years, when they're signing other guys, it's like you do a little swap-a-roo, and there's going to be a more favorable CBA. So
That's true.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like there was just a $30 million boost to the cap this year, and it's only going to
Yeah,
start going
I'm
up
just.
from there.
Or, I
Inflation
think it was
doesn't
like
stop.
12 or something, but they're going to be paying Jordan Love in 2 years, so
Mhm.
it's just
They're
they let Jordan sit for so long on that rookie contract. I
they're
don't know.
playing the cap game, 100% playing the cap
Oh, yeah.
game. Just like we're looking at with the Bills and everything like that. Like they're on the opposite spectrum. Obviously, they have the money to spend, but they're playing the cap game. Hey, let's get this.
Yeah.
Let's get these guys paid out of the way now, but lock them up for a little bit. And that way, when it comes time to pay Love, we have that money because we front loaded all those other
Yeah.
contracts.
And I always
Just
forget
remember-
Green Bay is operating on a different operating budget than
Yeah.
most
Yeah.
teams.
Anyway,
Well, and just remember,
I
too.
hate cheese heads. So
It's like Rax was saying.
Yeah,
something.
move on.
Oh.
Well, I was going to say, just
Oh.
moving on across the frozen tundra, from the
Oh.
Pac to Minnesota.
we're going the same place. Just doing it differently.
Hey, shut up! Let him do the transition.
Yeah, I'm
Come
actually
on,
good
man.
at
I
this
hate
shit.
cheeseheads.
Sorry, I'm good at this stuff. This is what confuses me the most. I was just waiting. I was the best man in a wedding for a bald person one time, and I do truly love it. I'm still great friends with the couple. Everything's wonderful. The only problem with the relationship between all three of us is that they're Vikings fans. And I want to like the Vikings. I want to see Frankie JJ, do the greatest things ever, catch balls one-handed and moss mother effers, okay? I wanted to see Kirk stay, and I wanted to see them make a run, but now I get to watch the Niners backup quarterback, Sam Darnold, throwing to the best receiver in the NFL, while they have a kicker named John Parker Romo.
Cousins
I'm
of Tony Romo.
baffled. I'm
Cousins-
Are
baffled.
they actually cousins?
Fuck if I know. I just throwing some
Oh,
shit out
come
there.
on.
I can look it up.
I do want to say we will be seeing JJ Moss motherfuckers because that's the only way he's going to be catching balls.
Yeah, no, they're going to be all over. And then, Aaron Jones is a signing for a running back. I guess that's an improvement from Madison and whoever
That's an
else.
improvement. Madison was horrendous last year. He was god
They re-signed
awful.
Johnny Munt, who I think's a pretty good blocking tight end. They let Daniil Hunter walk. They kept David Quessenberry. I mean, it's like plus minus.
Yeah, so-
I just don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I
just
feel like
another-
that's always the Vikings is they always let dudes walk and then they sign other dudes and then never get better and they never get worse. They're just always
it's
like
just-
somewhere in between
This is
7
another,
and 8 or 7 and 9 and 10 and 6.
this is another team that I wouldn't be surprised if you see them move up
10
for a
and 7,
quarterback.
sorry.
They'll pick a quarterback that can sit behind Darnold for a year, maybe like a Bo Nix or something like that. Where
Trade up to the Patriots. Trade up. We'll trade you. We'll trade back.
Hey, go ahead.
Give
go
us
ahead,
something
go ahead.
good.
But
Give us something
Yeah.
completely
nice.
switch out the backfield there. Sam Darnold went to San Francisco. Hopefully he developed a little bit under Shanahan, and Shanahan's always been known for that scheme fit quarterback, right? But you bring in Sam Darnold, who's known for a gunslinger. He can throw the ball down the field. He's got the arm strength. Obviously, misfortune going to the Jets. Sorry, dude.
Yeah, that and his ability to see ghosts.
That too. So I think that maybe they bring in someone for a year, give him that year to just go out and play, and it's a quick rebuild. They develop a quarterback. Aaron Jones, kind of an interesting one to me. He's on a 1-year deal. I don't know if that's just because they want to bring in another a rookie or something, unrestricted or undrafted.
The Aaron Jones deal screams Zadarius Smith, fuck you, Packers, to me.
Yeah, it's true.
I almost felt like he was like, fuck these guys, I'm going to the Vikings.
Yeah,
yes.
But that's kind of an interesting spot for me. So we'll see
I
there.
don't know.
And let's transition into what really caused this.
Are we heading to the Falcons? Are we Kirk?
I was gonna say if we don't got anything else
Kirk?
about the Vikings,
nah.
because Sam
I think
Darnold has a job.
Sorry, I was gonna say the biggest thing about them is what you're saying. I'm trying to agree emphatically and just help you out, but I'm fucking up.
There's not too much to talk about in the Atlanta Falcons other than obviously Darnell Mooney and the Kirk Cousins.
Good signings.
Kirk Cousins is a question mark. He's a little bit older. He's coming to that team. They pay him a lot of money to be there. Given that $50 million signing bonus, and he's got $100 million guaranteed.
The only thing I'm worried about is that the Achilles is healed all the way.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm totally sold on. I am 100% sold on this offense. Outside of that, I think this offense is gonna hum.
Yes,
so I'd like to see Achilles. Right, we've seen the Achilles not be as much of a death sentence as it's been because of modern medicine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers
not a runner,
and he was breaking bongs on the sideline 6 weeks later. So, I'm not too super duper worried about this. It's a freak accident when it happens. You can literally see it. It's just like there was stress put on that, and it just decided to rubber bands. You watch it go up, the leg. Horrible to see, but I don't know, man. This team could be really good, man. Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Tyler Algier, Bijan Robinson.
Dude, and Darnell Mooney is a great compliment to all those guys.
Yep.
No, absolutely, bro. He could have a sneaky 800-yard season, dude.
I was gonna say Darnell Mooney is a sneaky 1,000-yard season guy for me this year.
Last year, I was like Falcons. I'm gonna avoid them in fantasy football drafts. This year, I'm like, I'm eating bird.
What do they eat down in Atlanta? What's their signature dish?
Lemon pepper wings at a strip joint. Ask Lou Will and Jack Harlow.
Lemon pepper wings at the.
I mean, fucking Atlanta, bro. It is literally just such a huge mixing pot of cultures. They eat everything, bro. I guarantee there's some of the best food in the world down there. You got Southern, you got probably Asian, you got Mexican, every influence. And the fusion.
Fried gator, baby. A little Cajun seasoning.
I would mess up a plate of fried
gator is good. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Gator is so good.
Just know that fried gator best be wearing jimmies.
True. The thing I want to point out here, though, on this one, you're going to watch Comeback Player of the Year come down to Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers, both Achilles issues.
Okay.
I just am not going to entertain that.
Okay. No shit.
Not going to entertain that one. Moving on to another team who's not going to entertain the Atlanta Falcons and Gators. That'd be the Carolina Panthers.
Paying a guard $100 million. What the fuck are we doing here?
They're doing exactly what they should be doing. That's putting protection around Bryce Young.
You can do it for less. You can do it for not $25 million a year.
Iceman, do not hate on this move. You know you want to see Bryce Young succeed, and you know the key to that, especially with him looking like small Drew Brees, is putting a line around him.
I don't have a lot of faith in the Panthers.
I don't either, but this is a start.
I like Canales, but I'm just like, we're spending $20 million on a fucking guard.
They're spending a lot. They signed two guards. They signed Hunt and Lewis.
Here's the thing, though.
$153 million on guards, dude.
It's a lot of money on guards.
Perfect. I love it.
Anybody that watched them last year knows that they're not trying to win a Super Bowl this year. They know they're not trying to win a Super Bowl this year. So we can't hold them to that metric, right? They're just trying to get better and see if they have a quarterback. And so these moves, $100 million over 3-4 years, that's all right. Because if this quarterback pans out, that's when we pay him. We don't have to pay this guy because now this quarterback's better.
Okay, you've talked me back into it. It's okay. It's fine, I guess.
It's another team with a young quarterback developing, and they're spending
the winner mentality in me is just like, I don't like it.
They're spending the money to develop the quarterback.
Where did the Bears get their number one pick this year? Where did the Bears get their number one pick this year?
It's true.
From Carolina. They're number one. They're number one.
It was a joke.
The 1-1.
What I really do like about the Carolina Panthers, though, is the trade for Deontay Johnson.
Yep. Probably weren't going to pay Dante Jackson anyways, too. So that's just a free player.
Deontay Johnson gets a reset from shit quarterback play in Pittsburgh.
Another shit quarterback. It's gonna be sick.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. But at least he can have that metric where he has one of the highest separation rates for a shit
let
team.
Bryce cook.
Wait, it already happened.
Let Bryce cook.
I really like Canales, so I think he's gonna be able to use Deontay.
I want to see Bryce Young be Russell Wilson 2.0. I want the stupid catchphrases and CTE in 10 years even.
Yeah.
Moving on down a little bit further south.
I don't really want to cover
who they, who that.
I don't really want to cover the Saints. All they've done is sign Willie Gay.
Which is a great 1 year deal. That's a great 1 year
5
deal.
years, yeah.
There's a
decent.
beautiful segue to be had here. Just like the re-signing of Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, we don't give a shit.
Honey Badger don't give a shit. Next team, let's go. Go to the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Honestly,
top 10.
Mainstream media's kind of beat this fucking horse dead.
And I've been kicking at it
keep
too.
Everybody. They just keep everybody in town. That's all they did.
They have done nothing extreme. They have paid their two players that kind of kept them.
They did everything they had to do.
I do like the fit of Baker Mayfield there, so congratulations, dude. Go ball out. Prove all the haters wrong.
I'm not sure if it's a good fit. I need one more year.
We'll know if it's a good fit when they move on from Mike Evans and have to go with a rookie receiver.
I'm just being a smartass. It's a great fit.
Dude, Mike Evans, top 10 receiver all time.
True.
It's becoming more and more true every season.
If he keeps putting up 1,000-yard seasons, yeah.
Just it feels so good.
All right, moving to the NFC. Moving to the NFC West, we could spend a little bit of time here.
Not on the Cardinals though. I don't give a fuck about them, and nothing on this fucking list is like.
Yeah, I mean they got Sean Murphy Bunting. That's about it. A lot of re-signs there and stuff, but
same with the fucking Rams. Blah.
The Rams,
they've been in cap hell and will continue to be so for a while.
I feel like they yeah. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, I feel like cap hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is cap hell.
Every team, just
all of these teams are just strapped.
The West Coast is where money goes to die.
Exactly.
Money, we have none here.
I do want to point out the Rams. I do want to point out
we've invested it all into meta fucking headsets, dude.
Oof.
Look at this Oculus VR. It shows me where the receiver is on the field. Son, I got eyes.
But it doesn't show me how to control cap space.
Oh man, if only Mac Jones could have a Apple Vision Pro to help him find his receivers.
I do want to hit on Jonah Jackson. I do like that signing for the Rams. He's another guard. I've been talking guards and offensive linemen.
You love guards.
No, dude, I love offensive linemen.
Can you tell me how many guards are on the Rams roster? How many natural guards are on their roster?
At least 5. They signed 2 in free agency, so I'm going to go with 6. 6.
I need some homework done.
The Niners, you're looking at the Niners down here. They're losing a lot of people. You're watching like Clelin Ferrell walk. You're watching, Darnold walk. A few other of these guys walk. They did bring in Leonard Floyd, great deal on that 2-year, $20 million deal.
Gross Matos.
Yep, he's pretty huge.
I like Gross Matos a lot.
And Jordan Elliott is pretty surprising as well. Defensive tackle that kind of developed or kind of fills a void there with Eric Armstead walking. Dude didn't want to take a pay cut.
I feel like for the Niners, man, the formula's right in front of them. We just watched them lose a very close Super Bowl. They need to bolster a couple defensive positions and then just play solid football. They're right there. Like, I feel like, maybe they lose some defensive, linemen, some edge rushers and some, some tackles. But at the same time, those guys weren't impacting games at the level that they were being paid to. And that's, it hurt our roster in other capacities. On special teams, it hurt our roster. In the secondary, it hurt our roster. And so if these guys want to walk and go get paid somewhere else, I think it's a great call. We have enough talent and enough money on that line already. It's just about bolstering the other positions, right? We would get more sacks if we had better coverage. We would have better coverage if we got more sacks. It's a yin and a yang. And so I'm really not too concerned looking at who they got.
I was going to say, plus you guys got a lot of cap, or you don't have any cap space. You guys aren't here to fucking break the bank for guys. You guys are here to win fucking games. So if they don't want to be here to win games, pound fucking sand, go get your money and don't win.
I think there's going to be a couple
100%.
Things here too that we're going to see over the next couple of days. we were talking about it earlier. The reports are breaking that they're trying to restructure Juszczyk's contract, and he's kind of against that. So, there's potential for him to be either on the move or even cut to bring that cap space down and maybe sign a couple more guys in free agency. That would be really interesting to see in the next couple of days. We'll see if that one happens. The other part of it too is what are we going to do, or what are the Niners going to do? With their receiving core, you got Debo, who I think is overpaid. He needs to be taking a pay cut. Javon Hargrave just didn't stand up to what the Niners paid for him. I'd like to see him take a restructure and a pay cut maybe, and clear some of that cap space out. Maybe go after a couple more defensive tackles or something like that. Because in the draft, you guys
can attack that in the draft too. You guys haven't lost so much of that.
No, and that's
I think in the draft
that your draft can replenish a lot of what's lost.
I think in the draft they're going to go inside and outside offensive line, and then a cornerback, losing Isaiah Oliver and a couple other guys.
I keep an eye out. You guys are going to draft a wide receiver. I think Ayuk's on the move this year, and no better draft to get a cheap guy in the third or fourth round.
The Niners did tender Jauan Jennings. They put a second round tender on him. So that could be potentially like, say, hey, we lose Jauan Jennings to this contract. Now we have a second round pick to spend on a receiver. So that could be what they're doing there. Maybe they look at Debo and Jauan the way he stepped up last year, kind of being the tag team there with that one dude from.
Yeah, we'll see. I'd like to see him do it in the regular season. We really saw it just in one playoff run.
Right. But I also don't think the opportunity was there. Like, I think you saw them move kind of away from Debo in that playoff game and use him as a decoy because he was hurt, and that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see how they navigate the cap space if they make some moves or whatnot.
I would love to agree with that point, but he got 11 targets and caught 3 of them, which means he missed 8 of his 11 targets in the Super Bowl. They were not using him as a decoy. He was just injured, and it really hurt the game plan.
Yeah, not wrong.
Yeah, that's his biggest detriment in football.
And I'm not even trying to take a poop on your chest or anything, because that would be incestuous and gross. I'm just trying to, that was my interpretation of the usage of Debo in the Super Bowl, and it was less than stellar.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Can we shit on the Seahawks? Because I hate the two things they did.
I don't even want to talk about the Seahawks.
They haven't done
shit.
No, but why are we spending $10 million a year on Noah Fant? And why are we spending... Dude, Leonard Williams gets 3 years, $64 million. He's not done shit.
$21.5 million a year, bro. $21.5 million a year.
I mean, that's fine if you're... I mean, you guys should be pretty happy because that's great. They're spending $20 million on a guy who played 10 games and got 4 sacks.
Somehow they're still going to be dangerously relevant.
Yeah. Well, they'll be 10. They'll finish 9-8 or 9-8, 10-7.
We're about to find out though how good Pete Carroll was, how his football IQ was. Maybe he doesn't apply to the modern player, but I really doubt that he was football.
He was really good at scouting guys.
I just feel like he's been a really good coach from Stanford to the Seahawks. Everywhere he's been, he's always had some success.
Or USC.
That's coming from a huge Seahawks hater.
Right. Well, hey guys, I do want to end this. I want to get winner, your guys' biggest winner of the free agency so far, and then we'll kind of end it on that. I think.
Oh, this is easy. Houston.
Ooh, Houston, huh?
Okay.
Who are you taking?
Man, that's a tough one. See, like I said, Houston was definitely on my radar for this, just because I feel like all their signings minus Joe Mixon were really good. But I think my winner at this moment is the Washington Commanders. I think they upgraded at quarterback. I think that they got a better running back. I think that they were able to get better offensive line and defensive linemen, linebackers, and safeties. I feel like holistically, they made improvements to every level of their football team. Now, I'm not saying
they definitely had the best contract too.
Don't fucking quote me either and say, "Oh, Rack says that they're going to the Super Bowl." No, I just think that they got a lot better across the board. I think like if this was Madden, they went from like a 75 to a 78 or 79. They're almost on that 80 fence.
Yeah,
dude, they added championship pedigree by getting Julie Ertz's husband into the building.
That's true.
But by de facto, an American hero into the building to teach them what winning is about.
They're going to show them what European football is all about. No, so I'm kind of on the same page with you guys. I'm a little torn. I've actually got both of them as kind of like tied at the number one spot. I think both the Texans and the Commanders could be teams to reckon with. I think both of them could end up in the AFC Championship game. They do obviously need a couple more pieces. I think the Texans are more complete, but the way the Commanders are moving, especially with who they kind of picked as their coach and everything, I'm excited to see them play. So I'm going to go ahead and give it to the Commanders because I want them to be up there, and I think that the Texans were more complete prior to the season. But yeah, it's going to be really cool to watch them play.
I guess I just found out the title for this.
What's that?
We're Commanders fans now? Episode 7-ish. We're Commanders fans now.
This is a Commanders podcast.
On that note, guys, ABA podcast, it's been real. Just checking out. We are now Commanders fans. Look for the Commander banners on each one of our walls.
We're hat backwards, Dan Quinn, guys.
Yeah,
we're going to be starting a petition to change
Dude, you got hat backwards right now. What do you mean? You're standing in solidarity.
Dude, I hate Dan Quinn. Though. Stop. I don't like him. On that note, for real this time, ABA podcast. We'll catch you guys later.